What is something you've done slash seen slash heard so bizarre that no matter how many times you tell it, nobody believes you? Story 1. Was working register one evening at a shitty little grocery store when this little meth-head lady walked in, asked for a pack of Cools, and as she's reaching for her money, 3 of her teeth just fell out and onto the counter. I remember the noise they made when they hit the counter to this day. She didn't give a damn, just grabbed them, got her change back, and walked off. Nobody ever believes me when I tell this story. I was in such shock that I barely believe it myself. She didn't give a shit. Story 2. I had a 3rd grade teacher who was awful to me, but absolutely adored my older brother and younger sister. My parents loved this lady, but she was always a twat to me for whatever reason. One day, when we were doing multiplication tables, I got a few answers wrong and she said to me, "That's okay. People still need their groceries bagged." She said this to an 8-year-old. To this day, my parents nor my siblings believe me. Story 3. When I was at 8 or 9, I was working my paper route when a wolf ran out of someone's house and started coming towards me when the owner screamed at it and it turned around. I'd never seen a wolf in real life before, but I also had never seen a dog that size that also looks like a wolf. I hauled ass home and told my parents, which were like, a couple weeks later, it was in the news that those neighbors had been illegally keeping a couple half-wolf-bred dogs. Story 4. I was in a Waffle House in High Point, North Carolina once at like 2:30 a.m. with my friend. Slightly buzzed ourselves, but not drunk by any means. This was like 1998. A man walks in, very drunk. He was probably in his early 40s. He doesn't say a word. He just walks over to the jukebox, puts in some coins, and plays Flowers on the Wall by the Statler Brothers. As the song started, he stood on top of a table and sang every single line. Quite well, actually. When the song ended, he dismounted the table and walked off into the night. The only reason I know this absolutely happened is because my friend remembers it too. It was honestly a spellbinding experience. Story 5. I was in year 2, so like 7 years old, and asked my teacher to go to the toilet. All was well. I walk along into one of the stools and look into the toilet to see a pure white log of shit. As soon as I see it, the stench brutally attacks my nostrils as my eyes tear up, and I back out of the stall, coughing uncontrollably from the smell. I left without doing my business, and no one to this day believes me. It was not toilet paper wrapped around a poo. It was more like someone spray-painted a piece of crap. It was one solid log. Story 6, 18 or 19 years ago. Flat tire on way to midterm. No spare available. Professor was really understanding. Let me make it up. Working poor, so I was just going from beater to beater for a bit. Come finals, another flat tire. Had left early enough to get to campus that I wasn't worried. Called tow truck for assistance. 1 mile behind me on a highway, I start seeing smoke. Turns out the tow truck on its way to me caught fire mid-trip. Professor didn't believe me, had to retake the course. This is the story I share when people wonder why I always give people the benefit of the doubt. Story 7. I once saw a shirtless black man in cargo shorts riding upon a horse when crossing the highway somewhere along the Texas-Oklahoma border. He also had a Bluetooth speaker blasting Tupac songs when he rode across the highway. This was in August 2018. I think about it sometimes. Story 8. I was in elementary school and a circus was in the city, and they thought it would be cool to bring the elephant to our schoolyard. It was awesome, even though we were only allowed to watch it from inside the classroom as it walked around with its tamer. My parents told me I was talking she*T, and they will be very angry if I don't stop to talk about it. There was an elephant at our school, and I couldn't tell them made me sad. Edit, spelling, because I'm a German potato. Story 9. I once got myself handcuffed to my motorbike by an angry hawk. It quote, unbelievable how strong the grip on raptors is until they have their talons sunk into your hand meats. And there's no one around for miles, so you just have to stand there like the dumbass you are, wailing into the wind until the pissed-off upside-down bird takes pity on you and lets you go. Story 10. When I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, I went to work with my dad one summer day. There was an older man in the lobby area of the office waiting for an appointment. He started talking to me and asked what my favorite candy was. I told him it was this white nougat candy that had these little jelly bits in it. I don't even know what it was called, and it's not a very common candy. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the exact candy I described. It seemed like magic. I took the candy but was afraid to eat it, and a bit ashamed I accepted candy from a stranger. I gave it to my dad and was going to tell him what happened, but he opened and ate the candy. I never told him but watched him closely that day in case it was poisoned or magic. He's still alive, so I guess the candy was fine. Story 11. Our local mall is falling apart. People have just started walking dogs in there and no one gives a crap. I made a joke about it to my wife and said, "What's next? People taking their cats to the mall?" And sure enough, there was some teenager with her cat on a leash walking right by us. I swear that really happened. Edit. My wife reminded me I almost forgot. When we went back with the kids, my toddler stepped in dog piss. They weren't even cleaning the floors anymore. Story 12. I caught a hummingbird with my bare hands as it was flying by. I didn't even think about it, it just happened. I took a look at it after realizing what I'd just done, then let it go. I'm glad I didn't hurt it with my knee-jerk reaction, but it was pretty cool. It seemed very confused, but not scared. Story 13. I caught a state record fish about 10 years back. I was with a group of 3 other people. We all had calibrated scales and weighed the fish on all 3, and it beat the record by 3 ounces. They weren't ready to leave yet, to go to the official scale, so I set it on the beach, and we did some last casts and cleanup. Anyways, a bear ended up taking the fish, as evidenced bear tracks where the fish was, and the fish being gone, while we were just around the bend for about 10 minutes. Nobody besides those people that were with me believes me that I could be in the state record book, but lost the fish after I caught it. TLDR, I caught a state record fish and then lost it. Story 14, anything I do. I'm incredibly clumsy oafish. To the point where a former classmate of mine would tell me, if it was anyone else, I would not believe them in the slightest, but I just know this actually happened, because it's you. He's one of the few who believes my next-level stupidity. Edit. For reference, I once spent 2 minutes on the phone talking to myself, because in the time span of less than a minute I had forgotten I tried finding my mobile, used the landline to call myself, found my phone, saw I had a missed call, called back to the caller, it said mom as I was at home, and spent a good 2 minutes frustrated because my mom wouldn't pick up the phone and annoyed the landline started ringing. Instead of making the connection, I picked up the landline and switched between putting my mobile and the landline to my ear, frustrated that neither my mom nor the other person was replying to me. I learned I am in fact a very patient person, but also incredibly blunt. I'm still recovering. Story 15. I didn't think it was that weird, but I went to a museum in London where they had a piano in the cafe area. A guy goes over to the piano, flexes his knuckles, and proceeds to play about half an hour of the most insanely elaborate pieces you've ever heard. Just absolutely knocks it out of the park. He finishes, stands up, takes a bow, and everyone in the cafe bursts into spontaneous applause. People are cheering. It turns out that he's a Russian concert pianist in town for a performance that weekend, and we all just got a preview of his show. Everyone I've told about this finds it entirely unbelievable, because everyone clapped. I just get the same old response referencing the meme, which I don't really get, because I'm pretty sure most people would applaud a concert pianist. Ah well. Story 16. When I was golfing one day, a father and son was paired with another single, and we go out and I learn that it is the son's birthday. Which is cool because it's also my birthday, and wifey gave me a day off from the baby, so I figured I'd get around in. I asked him how old he was since we seem about the same age. Turns out we were born on the exact same day. Crazy, right? Well, turns out getting to know them a little more as the day goes on. They're from New York. Well, I was born in New York. I ask for shits and giggles where? Long Island. Me too. Mercy Hospital. Silence for a second or two. Are you fucking kidding? No. Same day, same year, same hospital. Story 17. My ex, who stole tens of thousands of dollars from me, secretly believed she was a witch. Like a I can make things happen sort of witch. I began to figure it out and called her out. She vehemently denied it. Then I caught her on IG paying a witch doctor from Haiti to cast a love spell on me with my money. The dude sent her a damn video of some voodoo BS, candles and crap on a beat-up table in some hovel, to prove he had done it. She eventually left after a lot of drama, and I found her stupid little witchcraft garbage hidden all over the house. Rocks and random things in various pockets of my clothing. String hidden in the pocket of my favorite jeans. Little candles hidden away. Feathers jammed into things. Stuff places over doorways and windows. 2 dead frozen rabbits buried in the freezer. She had tried to breed them, and these 2 had died after birth. I had naively assumed she got rid of them. 2 dead ducklings in a takeout container hidden in a closet. She tried to raise ducks, too. She had problems. Story 18. I accidentally managed to ride my bike across my phone. It was in my bag on the front in my bike's basket when I hit a bump and it jumped out, hit the ground in front of my bike, and I ran straight across it. My phone was screened down on the road, too. Absolutely destroyed. I was 15 and my mom didn't believe me when I told her how it happened. Story 19. I was walking to Target with my sister on my birthday, December 7th, and told her about how bummed out I was that every year for the last 3 years, some random old guy, never the same one, would start a rant about how kids these days don't know about Pearl Harbor and have no respect. Some would put a fun twist on it like, "Do you know what day it is?" She was laughing. There was no way, and I just shrugged it off. These guys would be old guys on the way to veteran centers, but clearly not that old. I'd be riding the bus and usually coming home from college classes, so maybe I made an easy target for them in a convenient captive audience on public transport. I have an extra bonus of being part Japanese, but my sister is blonde. So fun times. Later, we were in line at the store, and a bored old guy leans over and asks, "Do you kids know what day it is?" My sister burst out laughing to his astonishment, and I quietly answered, "It's Pearl Harbor Day, sir." Story 20. I used to work in security at a local casino. One day the supervisor calls me to coat check, and when I get there he has this look on his face. "We have a bird." I look up at the rafters in coat check and he says, "No, back here." We go behind the counter and some woman who came into the casino coat checked a live pigeon in a bag. And the coat check attendant not only accepted it, but also agreed to feed it.